Well, the Department of Basic Education has instructed public schools to accept and promote all grades 7 to 9 pupils who've obtained 20% in mathematics. Media reports say the department told schools to bypass the requirements of the national curriculum. The major reason for this are concerns that pupils are passing all of their other subjects but failing mathematics, a compulsory subject to pass. The directive is the result of the department fielding complaints about pupils passing 6 subjects but not maths, meaning they could not progress to an FET college or grade 10. Now those who achieve a 20% pass in mathematics would progress to the next grade. An education task team has recommended several years ago that the pass rate for maths be increased to 40%, while other subject pass rates were 30%. Let's take a look at how social media is reacting to this news. One of the tweets coming in, Sharon Jacobson, saying 20% minimum pass rate for maths from grade 7 to 9 unfair to learners. Kevin Hasu says, are you kidding me? 20%? It's like cheating. Grade 7 to 9? Why a kid nowadays can't learn a simple maths? Let's go to another tweet. Without education, a nation perishes. As SA lowers the bar even further for learners, 20% in maths in grades 7 to 9 get promoted. Another tweet there, our education system worries me, condoning grade 7 to 9 pupils who obtained 20% for maths. I know others aren't going to pursue maths, but ne, mi matau. So now they've dropped grades 7 to 9 maths pass mark to 20%. For what exactly? Is this dumb move going to make kids smarter? Well, joining me on the line, spokesperson for the Minister of Basic Education, Troy Martens. Troy, good morning to you. Can you confirm, though, that this is a move that's going to take place, dropping the pass mark to 20% for maths?
Good morning. I think we first need to clarify a few things before we misinform the public and get emotional about something that really isn't the way that it's perceived to be. I think we need to remember that before 2014, passing maths was not a requirement for progression to the next grade. What we've actually done in the new curriculum is we've raised the pass criteria. So as I'm sure you're aware, we implemented the new the CAPS curriculum completely in 2014. And what that means is that in order to pass the year, in that senior phase, which we're talking about, so that's grades 7, 8, and 9, you need to pass your home language by 50%. In the past, it was only 40%, and you need to pass maths by 40%. Now, I'm sure you'll recall when you or I went to school, you did not have to pass maths to pass the year. So this is what we've done in terms of raising the bar and making maths a subject for progression. But the impact of this, and because we did not implemented incrementally, is that it has negatively affected many, many learners. So what we've said is that for this year, while we are reviewing the policy, which may be a bit too high in terms of the criteria that we're looking for learners to pass, while we're reviewing that policy, we're condoning those learners who didn't pass maths but met all the other pass criteria to progress to the next grade. Because mathematics isn't for everyone, as I'm sure you know. Some of us are more inclined to the arts, some of us are more inclined to vocational and technical subjects. So we need to ensure that no learners are discriminated against, and we don't want learners to fail the year because they have not passed maths. So this is really what it's all about. For maths,
if you know it's not for everybody, you've made it maths compulsory then to pass the year. Right?
Yes, that's what we've done. And that's why we're making this condonation because we've decided that after hearing the complaints of teachers and the complaints of the provinces with regards to this pass criteria, we are busy in the process of reviewing the policy for the pass criteria. And while that review is underway, we have decided that we will not let this cohort of learners basically be negatively affected by the decision that has been made to make the passing of maths compulsory. And so that's why we've taken the decision. If they pass, if they meet all the other pass criteria and they pass maths with above 20%, we will condone them to the next grade.
And Troy, that there is going to be a backlash here. I mean, 20% doesn't sound like an awful lot. I mean, many people say you're accepting, a less than mediocrity, and this will have far-reaching long-term consequences for, a tertiary education.
Well, I think you need to take into consideration that, for example, like I said, when you and I went to school, you didn't need maths to pass the year. Am I correct? Do you recall that when you were in school?
I think actually maths was compulsory along with your home language, but I don't know, maybe. I can't remember.
Well, not when I was in school. I didn't even take maths in high school. So mathematics wasn't compulsory. We've made it compulsory to pass. And this is why and it's had a very negative effect on many learners, and this is why we've taken the decision. Now, your learners who are not passing maths at grade 7, 8, and 9 are more than likely not going to take pure mathematics when they get to grade 10. So this isn't the learners that we're talking about that are going to get a bachelor's and get distinctions in mathematics. Obviously, we still have those learners. Those learners are still going to go to university. These are your learners who maybe are more suitable to go a vocational or technical path. These are your learners who maybe would consider a career in journalism, a career in the arts, a career as a historian. These are the types of learners that we don't want to negatively discriminate against because they aren't able to pass maths. And when you keep learners unnecessarily in a lower grade for a prolonged period of time, that's what leads to your high dropout rates. That's what leads to learners being truant from school because they get bored. That's what leads to criminality, youth criminality, and all of these sorts of things that we're trying to mitigate against. And we want to retain our learners in school for as long as possible. And we believe that by doing this, we will, in fact, be assisting these learners.
One possibility, Troy, then why make maths compulsory to pass?
Well, that's what we're putting under review at the moment. That's what I said. The policy was well-intentioned. Obviously, we have a shortage of skilled mathematicians in the country. So it was under that provision or that understanding that we wanted to make maths compulsory. And you must remember that when you get to grade 10, it changes. You can choose between mathematics literacy or pure mathematics. And that's where, a lot of people divert to mathematics literacy if they are struggling with pure mathematics, because I'm sure you will appreciate that not everyone is equipped or able to handle pure mathematics as a subject. Some of us have struggled with that.
Maths was my worst subject. One last question. I mean, are the department maybe looking into the way that maths is being taught? I mean, it just seems that though there's so many students struggling with maths at the moment, and the complexities within the curriculum, is there a drive to try and see the way in which maths is being taught in schools?
Well, I'm actually not sure where you get that statistic that so many learners are struggling with maths at the moment. Because if you look at for example, the National Senior Certificate registration, we have more learners taking pure mathematics than ever before in the history of this country. We have more learners taking science. And yes, like I did mention, we have in the past had challenges with maths teachers and getting qualified maths teachers to where we need them. However, we've partnered with organizations such as Teach South Africa, who recruit young graduates from who take maths at a university level, and we place them in schools for a period of 2 years. That's really made a positive impact. We've also had the 4+1 program where we've gone on a training campaign with mathematics teachers. So for one day of the week, they've been basically upping their skills in terms of maths education, and the other 4 days they teach maths in the classroom. So we've put a number of initiatives in place. We've also got now a dedicated Math, Science and Technology Directorate in the Department of Basic Education that is really focused on solely mathematics, science and technology education. So there's a lot of positive things that we're doing to address the maths issue. And, perhaps we implemented this policy too soon before all of these interventions have started to see or bear fruit. But we believe that we are heading in the right direction, and that this policy that we're talking about is now under review. And as with all new policies, we need to implement them, test them, and when we meet challenges, we need to take decisions to mitigate against those challenges. So this is, I think people are really getting in a tiz about something that hasn't been there before. For example, you never used to have to pass maths to pass the year, and only now we've said that you have to pass maths to pass the year. And this is something that we obviously are going to have to review, because if you're passing all your other subjects with A's, for example, and you fail mathematics, that means you failed the year. And that isn't necessarily the best way to approach mathematics. And that's why we're taking this policy under review. And that's why for this cohort of learners, we're condoning them to pass to the next year if they meet all the other pass criteria.
Troy, good chatting to you. Thanks very much for chatting to us this morning. That's the spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education, Troy Martens, on the line there.